We'll start with yes. Yes. So we'll begin with prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगं रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण सहगं ललितं श्रीविशाखं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी वैष्णवी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमः महाप्रदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य गौरत्वश्री नमः श्री कृष्ण जगत्पति गोपिका कांत राधास्तुते तप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि हरि पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत ईश्वर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे निरोधवाचानं गंगं कृतातनं श्रीगुरुं यत्रैजं कमलते कृत्यं द्वैतायनाविरहका परआजुहाव तत्प्रीतितन्मयतया सर्वभूतिस् तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मनोऽस्मि तस्मादहं विगतविक्लव ईश्वरस्य सर्वात्मनामभिगृणामि यथा मनीषं मुञ्चूजो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविश्य वेतहि प्रमाणं वन्ते Krishna. So, first of all, I welcome all of you for this session. And beginning only I can recognize that we must be someone else sitting here, but she has instructed me. So, Brahmachari ashram is the ashram where you have to tolerate, whether you want or not. So, it is a good opportunity for you that you can exercise your tolerance by hearing from me and discussing something. Yes, yes, what is it? Vice versa. What I can tolerate, if someone can tolerate. Here I have to click this join audio. No, everything is fine. Okay, okay. Yes, yes. So, yesterday, requested me to continue the session, saying that chapter number 2 and 3. So, you have completed, not completed, to some extent, you have gone in second chapter, right? So, exactly where you can show, I will just open this thing. Now, chapter 2, where is it? Where is chapter 2 gone? You are close to it. chapter 2. How come here it is to share? Sharing is not visible there. Just wait for a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. I'll do it again. Screen share. Now it's on. Now it's on. So some online also. Chandan is online, is it? Chandan and others are online only, earlier. Huh? I would put online, offline, all everything.
Your audio is not clear.
Okay. Okay, so this is the second chapter. So you have completed some point. So please let me not till here. I was speaking till here. Two types of this was discussed Padmapuran, Smarthavyam, Sapatam, Vishnu. Till here, can you say? No, page number is difficult for me to. Yeah? See here? Principles of Vedic Bhakti, Goswami defines. Okay, here we have to be. See here, Goswami defines. Okay, from here. Okay, fine. So just we'll recapitulate little bit in what has happened in here and what has happened since so many days before and what will happen from last 1 year. Just in 5 minutes or so. So basically we were discussing Bhakti Shastri. So we began hopefully with Isha project. Or whatever. Basically, anyway, yeah, I am just telling a traditional way. So Isha project we learn with proper understanding and connection that Lord is a person. His impersonal aspect is completely refuted. With the end, the praise to the Supreme Lord. Please remove your reference so that I can see. Please remember all my services, etc. Right? So having established that, generally one learns Bhagavad Gita, where the paths to approach the personal God, the three essential paths are told. Karma, Jnana, and Bhakti. And there is Ashtanga Yoga also, which is supporting that. And then you learn, basically, that comes brings you into philosophy. Bhagavad Gita is Smriti, right? Shruti is Upanishad, Smriti is Bhagavad Gita. It's considered Shruti also because Gita Upanishad, Shankaracharya said that. So you learn that then you come to the scripture that is Upanishad. So Upanishad is concise instructions which you are able to Goswami in 11 verses, which can uplift a common man to the highest position of great bhakti in Bhagavatam. But 11 verses. So it doesn't elaborate the things, but it gives essential principles to be followed. Essentially, it talks about sadhu sangha vijnana. Actually, how do you associate with properly different kinds of devotees, and then actually we can associate with Rajvasi properly, which is very first, right? And then it takes us ahead. So that was Shamrita, and now we are studying the most essential book written by Goswami, which is Adhigaya Grantha. So Bhakti symbol is briefly like this. Yeah, these were we are learning. We are trying something we are trying. Sound is not clear. Okay. Yeah, so what is this Lord is speaking about? So first introduction we learn what is Bhakti, what is Uttama Bhakti. Actually, what exactly is Uttam Bhakti? It's a definition, and the most profound definition, which is not too exclusive, not too inclusive. No, it is considering all kinds of different in the definition. So it's a very big definition that we discussed already elaborately. Then chapter 1 we discussed why we perform the Uttam Bhakti. Because it produces 6 characteristics. Yoshagini Shudara, Nakshalagopa, Siddharlaga, Sandavananda Visheshatma, Shikutta, Karthantasa. So we discussed that elaborately before. So why is paid before? Because these specific reasons appear to the degree the person's practice of Shuddha Bhakti. To the degree the mixture is there, to the degree the 6 things will appear but will not appear fully. That's what Bhakti Bhakti says. So why to practice Bhakti? Then now what we want to discuss is what is Bhakti. Now going from Uttam Bhakti, 3 types are there. Sadhana Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So now we are discussing about Sadhana Bhakti. In that also there are 2 types. Yogi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So that's what we are going to enter now. What we learn from chapter 3 to 5 is the qualification. Who can do this very Sadhana Bhakti? Now, Adhikaris. So 3 different Adhikaris we see. 3 very Sadhana Bhaktas, Adhikaris, Kanishka Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, etc. So that is eligibility, or Adhikari. And what is not eligibility also you will see. That is 5th chapter. And then having established all these things, then Goswami is telling exactly what is to be done. That is from chapter 6 to 15. Those 64 links are listed and 64 links are corroborated from scriptures. That is from 6 to 15. And then 16 to 19 is the rebirth of such practice, that is Sadhya Bhakti, that is Bhava Bhakti, 2 chapters, Prema Bhakti, and 2 chapters. So that's why now we are entering into this chapter number 2. So in chapter 2, so till here we will come to yeah, so what I have tried to do is I have inserted verses of the original Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu so that things are put in right context based on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Because if you look at the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1970, I think his grace instrumental in this book, right? It's the Janam. So he gave 11 donations to publish this book. So President didn't write just 19 chapters. Christian audience, in one sense, to begin with, he wrote the entire novel. So the terminology which are used, high subject matter. So it becomes difficult to terminologies. That's why some verses help us to fully understand. Okay, so that's why I have to do that, so that it will be easier for us to understand. Because the language, any language, develops based on consciousness and the experience of the language. So happiness is not so much in the sense of the people who speak English, they have not Goswami is experiencing. So for him, there are so many levels of happiness and so many ways for that happiness. Whereas in English, how many levels you have? You know, these ecstasy, like that. So that's why, but one differentiate different terminologies which are in Sanskrit. Whereas Prabhupada had the great that for audience which is English, which has not much experience of what he's speaking about. That's why he has to use terminology which is very simple to understand. But at times it is not so easy to grasp what he means. So that's why the Sanskrit verses will help us to understand. So that's why some places I have put some verses. So in beginning of second chapter, Prabhupada continues actually previous Lahari of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu actually. So he talks about the that these six qualities. So two are there in sadhana bhakti and four are there in bhava bhakti, six are there in prema bhakti. That's how it begins, right? So these are the things we have discussed. So essentially, the difference is it is mentioned here. Nisha Shabda Padam Ekan Mahatman Parikirtikam. Second line I am reading. So through six words, Goswami has uniquely unified the three kinds of bhakti. The three kinds of ways Mahatma. Parikirtikam is uniquely unified. Means that the two application stage means additional. Right? So the happiness of sadhana bhakti is Shubhada. Shubhada. So there the material happiness becomes inferior. Happiness of bhava bhakti is moksha lagatakrit, where the material happiness becomes insignificant and even the happiness of liberation also becomes insignificant. And the happiness at the level of prema bhakti is the happiness is what? Sandrananda Visheshatma, which is very condensed bliss. So it's good to talk about it at least. So that one day you'll aspire for it. So the material happiness is, yeah, PPT mein nahi hai. No, I'm not showing. I'm just showing this. I'll share that. So happiness in prema bhakti means there is the happiness is this just verse from. There is the material happiness is inexistent only for the person who is experiencing prema bhakti. Material happiness is what? Doesn't exist for him. In existence. So from inferior it becomes insignificant, and from insignificant it doesn't exist at all. That's how the progressive experience of happiness is happening. That's why he is saying Mahatmyam Parikirtitam. So 6 qualities. Going further, he suddenly puts a kind of qualification that even little ruchi, swalpapi ruchi reva syad bhakti tattva bodhika yuktistu kevala naiva yad asya apratishthata. So this already you have discussed. So I will just speak 2-3 statements here. That it is mentioned here very importantly that little ruchi someone has for what? For bhakti tattva avabodhika. Means the acharyas and Srila Prabhupada also say that what is this ruchi? This is ruchi for the scriptures which are establishing the glory of Shuddha Bhakti. That is Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. That's what actually Srila Jiva Goswami says clearly. And Prabhupada also says here, if you have here also Prabhupada, that he has a particular taste. So what is that particular taste? See here Prabhupada says, lastly. Anyway, for a person who have a natural taste for understanding book like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier because of the taste. So actually this easiness comes because of the attraction, taste, interest, etc., which is very important aspect of bhakti. Okay, but attraction for what? This is this verse. Yeah, swalpa api ruchi asyat. Context is first Lahari only. He has told the different levels of happiness. I mean that six things manifest in 3 bhaktis, which I will tell in future. And suddenly he tells Kimcha. So good that you have asked context. So Srila Jiva Goswami says that what is this context? So it is in first Lahari only. So what he says, Kimcha means what? something else should be said concerning those who have no taste for bhakti. That is expressed in this word kimcha. So this little attraction which is coming from previous life or attraction from association of a great soul, that helps a person. So here Salajiv Goswami is saying, Ruchi means what? Ruchi or taste in this verse means taste for scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam that present the true nature of bhakti. So that's what Prabhupada has said, right? Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. This taste arises through previous impressions. That Ruchi lets one understand the nature of bhakti, the highest position of bhakti. An equivalent expression would be Ruchi produces faith in the supreme position of bhakti. Basically, someone has got some taste, he will enter into it. So someone who has got the taste of pure bhakti or understanding pure bhakti, he will naturally increase his faith by approaching those scriptures which speak about it. He will develop attraction for it, like that. So that's what is told here specifically. And Prabhupada becomes merciful and says that even if there is no continuity, means what? Even if it is not coming from previous life. What Prabhupada gives, if only by chance a person take interest in pure devotee, Prabhupada comes to a very practical, down-to-earth thing that developing interest in following the instruction of pure devotee. So this is essence of our practice actually. Whatever taste we have, it has to boil down to practice the taste for the executing instruction of a pure devotee. Pure devotee means one who is at the level of bhava or prema. That is pure devotee. Developing taste for executing those instructions and developing taste for pure bhakti, which is given in person Bhagavat. So basically, in essence, Vyakti Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. That's all. That's the Swalpa api ruchi is there. That will take us ahead. That's what is being told by Rupa Goswami here. And he says that, see, Yukta istu na kevala naiva. See, Yukti, you have lot of intelligence, you can do lot of speculation. That will never help. So, Tarko apratishtha shuto vivinna. So, he quotes this verse. So, Prabhupada also writes that here. No path of argument will never be safe and conclusive. So, this also is mentioned in other side that one has only intelligence and logic and tarka, that is not going to help because it is never conclusive. Problem with tarka is it is never conclusive and every Muni has his own opinion. This is better, that is better, etc. That's what is told in. So these verses will not discuss now because we have. So this how the first Lahari ends, Samanya Bhakti, where you defined the pure Bhakti, 6 characteristics. Actually, this all comes in the first wave of the Eastern Ocean. So second wave begins with Sadhan Bhakti. Third wave is Bhav Bhakti. Fourth wave is Prema Bhakti. So Sadhan Bhakti. So then he defines, he tells 3 types of Sadhan Bhakti. So which you already discussed. Sa Bhakti, Sadhana, Bhava, Prema, Cheti, Tridhodita. So there are 3 types, Sadhana, Bhava and Prema. So actually there are 2 types, Sadhan Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti. But why 3 types are made? Because the Tatastha, the middle person, the person who has attained Bhava, has some effects of obstacles because of offenses to great souls. That's why he cannot be counted in Prema. And he cannot be counted in Sadhana because he has direct realization of Lord in Bhava stage. That's how the 3rd stage has been established by Rupa Goswami. Although there are actually 2 stages on. Okay. So actually Prema Bhakti has also 9 stages. So it begins with Bhava, Rati or Bhava, then Prema, then Sneha, Mana, if someone knows all these things up to Mahabhava. So they are stages of Sadhya Bhakti. 9 stages are there. So these 8 stages are Sadhan Bhakti till Asakti, and from Rati or Bhava till Mahabhava, they are stages of Sadhya Bhakti. So that's what is told. But Bhava Bhakti is specifically defined so as to clearly understand. because it cannot accommodate in both of them. Right? So then he defines what is sadhana bhakti, very important definition. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana vida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridhi sadhyata. Right? So kriti sadhya, the actions, the kriti, which is directed for creating sadhya bhava, create bhava bhakti, to create the emotions. Sa sadhana vida, that activity which is directed to awaken bhava bhakti or emotions is called sadhana bhakti. That is what is the first line. And it is not to be brought, this bhava or emotions are not to be created from external outside. Like Prabhupada, you discussed all these things, right? About walking capacity in child, etc. So that is next line is explaining that. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridhi sadhyata. That Prabhupada says, and earlier in Chaitanya Charitamrita also you have read that, what is that? Nitya siddha Krishna prem sadhya kabuna shavanadi shuddha chitte koriyeuda. So basically, by practices of sadhana bhakti done with material senses, the spiritual emotions can be awakened because of the strength of the practice. Because it is direct action of Swarup Shakti. Samvit, Ladini, etc. These actions are under Swarup Shakti. That's why it awakens all this bhava. So Prabhupada writes here very apparently not contradictory, but above below he writes very specific things. So here Prabhupada says, here practice means employing both mind and the senses in practical devotional service. This practice is not for developing something artificial. So first of all, there is both employment, mind and body, both. Of course, intelligence is also not mentioned, but it is understood that that also is there. So here, there are certain prescribed methods for employing our senses and mind in such a way that our dormant consciousness of loving Krishna will be invoked. So prescribed method means what? Someone is there to prescribe for you. So then it becomes bhakti. Okay, so that's the thing. One who has no basic walking capacity cannot walk by practice. Similarly, Krishna consciousness cannot be aroused simply by practice. So again, he is going now other side. No, by practice you cannot allow it. Just now he said that it can be awakened. Why is saying opposite? Because in that practice, it is not an external practice. So you read this statement, you can read. He's clarifying what he said. Actually, someone can read.
Actually, there is no such a practice. When we wish to develop our innate capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes which by our accepting and executing them will cause that dormant capacity to be invoked. Such a practice is called sadhana bhakti.
So not any practice will awaken bhava, but this specific practice. So what are conditions? When we wish, means what? Our aspiration is fixed. Our goal is prema bhakti. When we wish to develop our innate capacity, that is there, aspiration. Then certain processes are accepted. Means it is acceptance is there from authorized person. That is spiritual master. And then there is action. That is execution. So there is aspiration, acceptance and action. It is not just any action. Just any action will be a agyat sukruti. Whereas sadhan bhakti means there is right aspiration, there is right acceptance, and then there is execution with that. So then it is sadhan bhakti.
These are the activities of mind and the body. Activities of mind is to aspire and activities of the body is to act as per the prescribed.
We can say actually what you are saying makes sense. If you go back and see the mental culture of Krishna consciousness, actually this Prabhupada writes in the introduction or preface. If someone can go there, you read that part.
So there Prabhupada is writing engaging mind.
Huh.
That part, I think we can see if required. Where it is exactly? Can
Maybe we can type on that search.
yeah. Mental culture, na? Oh, sorry. To refer, someone can refer that. This is mental culture of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says. Yeah. Or in other words, okay, fine. Yeah, here it is. So activities. Yeah. It's there, you can read. Oh, you are not able to see?
Hare Krishna. Where should
Here.
I?
I'm highlighting here is not visible. I don't know. Okay, something else is shared.
That is. That is right. A Krishna conscious person engages in that.
New share.
And by his mind, a
Yeah.
Krishna conscious person always thinks of the activities of the Lord. And by his mind, a Krishna conscious person always thinks of the activities of the Lord as he is speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra or engaging in his various pastimes in Vrindavan with his devotees. In this way, one can always think of the activities and pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So if you see this context, when it is speaking, this paragraph is speaking about engaging mind. Next paragraph speaks about engaging the body. So that has to be under spiritual master. Activities, representative of disciplic succession. You see this. Then only that execution of Krishna conscious activities should see this. So this is activities of the body. So very clear separation is there. As you are saying, so it's corroborating. Prabhupada is saying the same thing. So it's very essential. It's not that sadhan bhakti doesn't just mean that we are just practicing some devotional activity. That does not necessarily mean that one is sadhaka. Like once I was talking to Kamal Lochan Prabhu. So in course of discussion, he said that there are very few sadhakas in ISKCON. Sadhaka means he's trying to practice pure devotional service. Even Gaurampu was sharing once that earlier there was 18.66. When Prabhupada was there, ISKCON was 18.66. But now it is entire Bhagavad Gita. all yoga practice mixture, everything is there. So both great souls are speaking like this in personal talk. So sadhaka being Kanishta Adhikari is a very exalted platform who has a pure faith on the process of bhakti, which is coming from a pure devotee on. So then only the mind will be engaged actually. Otherwise, mind will be thinking about so many other things which are there in this world, which are very attractive, which are appreciated, which are glorified, and they're okay. That's not an issue at all. But that's not what Rupa Goswami or Prabhupada has come to give. So, coming back to here now, so Prabhupada is very uniquely defining, and then Prabhupada goes further saying that, so 7th canto, this bhakti is indicated, Rupa Goswami says. So, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna nivashet or tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna nivashet. Sorry, I'm just showing the same chapter only. Yeah, here. Yeah, you can see. Just this Prabhupada book only I have inserted some verses so that it becomes easier for us to understand the context what Prabhupada is speaking. So the duty of Acharya is to find the ways and means for his disciple to fix his mind on Krishna. So this is what Prabhupada did, and he could do a lot of miracles in the West in a small time. Because he identified what kind of person will do what kind of thing. Right? So the Krishna consciousness movement is to inspire and engage people in Krishna consciousness. It is not for hiring and firing people to get things done for what we want to do. Okay, so there is a great difference in this two. To inspire and engage people in Krishna's service. Somehow based on, so here Prabhupada is saying, Kenapi Upayana means whatever his background, accordingly that person is given some engagement. Even he will not understand, he is doing it for Krishna, like that. So it is for inspiring and engaging people in Krishna consciousness. So inspiring and engaging can be done by education and personal example and encouragement. Proper encouragement for things. And it is not for hiring and firing. You understand? There is no word rejection in Krishna dictionary. So what to speak of a pure devotee? Prabhupada also, there is no question of rejection of any person who has taken up to Bhakti. So it's not about hiring and firing at all. So it's not about the fruits of action and etc. But engaging mind. So yena kenapi upayana. So Prabhupada is saying duty. Similarly, anyone who tries to fix mind in this way will very rapidly make progress, successfully reviving his original Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So then this Vaidhi, Raganuga, Cheti, Sa, Dvidha, Sadhana, Bidha. So there are two types of Sadhan Bhakti, Vaidhi and Raganuga. So this also you read, correct? Yesterday? So, yeah. So here the first is told that, yeah, you can read this. Anyone?
The first part is called service according to regulative principles. One has to follow the different regulative principles by the order of spiritual master or on the strength of authoritative scripture. And there can be no question of refusal. That is called Vaidhi or regulator. One has to do it without argument.
Yeah. And second?
Another part of sadhana bhakti is called Raganuga. Raganuga refers to the point at which, by following the regulative principles, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna and execute devotional service out of natural love.
Yeah. So these two are Prabhupada is kind of defining or giving some idea here. There is quite strongly writing that there is no argument, there is no question of refusal, etc. Because it is obligatory. So I had also Prabhupada will say that. So there is little attachment. Prabhupada is using this word attachment to Krishna. So further also there are definitions. Yeah, read this. Prabhupada says that someone will follow because Guru has told he comes for Mangalarti, etc. And then when you read?
When he gets this attachment, he automatically tries to decorate the deity and prepare different kinds of dresses and thinks of different plans to execute his devotional service nicely. Although it is within the category of practice, this offering of loving service is spontaneous.
Yes. So here Prabhupada is telling what the meaning of spontaneity means. He is not defining at the level of Vraj Bhakti, which is actually Raganuga Sadhan Bhakti, which will be spoken in 16th chapter. Here is giving an indication that how by practicing regulated, obligated service, one develops some kind of attraction. Then he starts doing something automatically, right? He's automatically trying. Nobody has told him to improve what he is doing, but he automatically tries. What he tries? He tries different plans to do whatever is told nicely. Automatic, nobody has told. So that's how that spontaneity means this one. That one automatically wants to improve. So NOI, if you read NOI, Prabhupada writes in this, what is first verse? Vacho Vegam, Manaso Krodha Vegam. Their controlling mind, Srila Prabhupada writes that controlling mind can be done by always, I am paraphrasing, always engaging in service and trying to improve that service. Prabhupada says. So if someone can find out, exactly same thing is speaking there. That engaging mind means thinking about the service and how I can improve that service. So the improvement has no limit. So that spontaneity has no limit, right? So that you take any service for that matter, no? Where one can refine it, one can refine what he is doing, chanting. So this is the thing which one can go on for rest of eternity to improve. You know, some other processes you may become, yeah, I can do those nicely, but I don't know who can say that I can chant nicely. So chanting or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, honoring prasad, serving prasadam, anything you take, or preaching to the youths, or doing management, anything you take, it can be refined. Congregational preaching, anything, or teaching something. There is no, but the point here is not that anyone has told him to do. He automatically tries and thinks, he starts thinking how I can do it nicely for Krishna. Or Kirtan, Prabhuji is doing so nicely. Arranging facilitating others also. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that spontaneity is added. So Srila Jiva Goswami says, I think Jiva Goswami Vishwanath Chakravarti, as soon as this spontaneity added, it is no more Vaidhi Bhakti, he says. Okay. So their spontaneity can be 10%, obligation is 90, then spontaneity can go on increasing that. Just I am giving an example. So going further, now he defines what is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So this is the definition. Yatra raga anavatva tatvat pravrittir upajayate shasane naiva shastrasya sa vidhi bhakti ruchyate. Okay. So where yatra raga anavaptvat, there is no spontaneity has awakened. So activities are happening on what level? Shastrasya shasana eva. Only because Shastra is telling or spiritual master is telling. Eva means only. Then it is such obligatory service, Prabhupada is saying, is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti. So here only Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that as soon as one gets the spontaneity to some level, then there is no more. Yeah, here. Yeah. See, I'm just reading. This is from this verse only, this verse purport. Vaidhi Bhakti is restricted to cases where Bhakti is performed exclusively by teachings of scripture and not with an element of raga. With an attainment of raga, there will also be some use of scriptural teachings as well. But it is not called Vaidhi Bhakti. So one will get some spontaneity and there will be following scripture on it. But then it is not called Vaidhi Bhakti, like that he says. So there is some element of spontaneity which has added, right? Actually, because it's a very essential thing that what one wants to do for Krishna or one desires to do for Krishna is important. Not wants, desires is good. And if it is allowed, it's good. If it's not allowed, that's also good. Because that's pure faith means that one. Pure faith means whatever is given to me is good for me. That's what is called pure faith, actually. So going further, so example he gives, he quotes his definition. So he says from Shastra how it is true. So he quotes Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Hari Ishvara Vigona Ishvaro Hari Shotavya Kirtitavya Smartavya Shechatabhaya. So if you want to become free from fear of death, you do Bhakti of Hari through Shotavya Kirtitavya, etc. So that's why it is example of Vaidhi Bhakti. Because the goal is to give up the fear, to become free from fear, right? Specifically, it's not that Parikshit Maharaj is at that level, but the sloka is spoken. So this sloka is coming in that Vaidhi Bhakti context. Because Parikshit Maharaj is not fearful actually. Yes, Prabhu. Anything regarding?
Just small question in this Vaidhi Bhakti, two things are said generally. One is inspiration of scripture, inspiration or fear of scripture injunctions, and order of guru. What if somebody is wanting to do something in Krishna consciousness because of his inner liking to that particular service? It may not be fear or anything like that, but it just is naturally is inclined to do that. His spontaneity is coming in that direction. It appears like that. But he wants to please Krishna, there is no doubt, but he wants to do in that way. So what can be considered, Vaidhi or?
Where it will fall.
Yeah.
So what he will do with that desire, that will define mind where it will fall. As I said that pure faith means to do whatever is prescribed for you. That is pure faith. Not what you want to do. You will have liking, you may have liking, and you should have some liking. Some liking, because that's why variety is created for what purpose? But we are not succumbing to practicing bhakti for that liking. As Prabhuji was answering his question, I remember because I was sitting, that what is important for us, what will please Krishna? Do we know what will please Krishna? Are you sure? You can be sure that I like this for Krishna. But will it please Krishna? Are you sure? So His Holiness Haldar Maharaj was telling that this confusion was there with the topmost devotees. Who are the topmost devotees? The gopis. When Krishna left, he was there 16 kilometers only in Mathura. They would have gone and it would have pleased Krishna. Right? But why they didn't go? This question he asked, like, why didn't they go? See, they know that Krishna is in separation. Krishna also is feeling separation. They themselves are burning in separation. But why didn't they go? So he asked this question. Many of you might be there in the class also. So what was the answer? Correct. He has not told. He told that I will come after 2 days. That he didn't do. Right? But they would have gone to please him. But why didn't they go? This is in the same context of I am saying, are you sure that it will please Krishna? Gopis were not sure that it will please Krishna or not. So they didn't go. That's what he answered. The context of his talk was, unless the Sharanagati has deepened in, what is that? Krishna is my maintainer. That is like the what you call trunk of the tree of Sharanagati. Then the 5 branches are Anukullasya Sankalpa. This is good for me. Here I can do nice service. My mind is engaged. Anukullasya Sankalpa. Pratikullasya Varjanam. This is not good for me. This is not good for my health. This is not good for my mental health, physical health, spiritual health, whatever. Anukul, Pratikul. So all other 5 limbs are the branches. So he said, unless this faith has awakened, the Anukullasya Sankalpa Pratikullasya Varjanam will be on mental platform only. So he said that, so it will not please Krishna surely. So what is to be done to follow who surely pleases Krishna? That is Sharanagat Bhakta. So same, Prabhupada said here, if somehow or other without continuity he develops some interest in executing instruction of spiritual master. Because what he says 100% is going to please Krishna. So that's how the prescribed practice is sadhana bhakti, not whimsical practice. But when we like someone, not someone, when we like some activity, something, it's a grace of Krishna. So we should be grateful to Krishna and we can express that. There is no problem in expressing that this is so, this kind of thing is so nice. I am not seeing even a watch while doing this thing. So this sharing is not a problem, right? And then he went on to say that if one does that with faith, then separate arrangement will be done for that person. So many times he told, some of you remember at least, separate arrangement आ जाएगा. आप जहां भी हो, जहां भी सेवा कर रहे हो, जिसके भी अंडर सेवा कर रहे हो, अगर आपका भाव ये शरणागति का है, शरणागत भक्त का, गुरु का फॉलो करना है, तो सेपरेट अरेंजमेंट आएगा आपके लिए. So that is the case. So coming to your question now, so I had some interaction some years back where I was expressing that I want to do this or like that to Radhesham. So simply word came, why you want to practice Karma Mishra Bhakti? Only one line answer was there. I had asked something. I don't remember the context now, but I remember the answer. So it will have mixture. It will have mixture if we do. There is no problem in doing that if one is unable to. But we have to understand that it is mixing. It is mixture. And it's not a problem. Because adhikar is required also to practice. Artificially, so that's why this Abhidheya Shastra is spoken so much, Bhagavad Gita, because we have to understand what is happening, what is being practiced and what is the highest, and how I can approach that. Where am I and where I have to reach? What is the highest practice, right? So that's the goal of all these books actually. They are showing us the ideals and they are showing us the lower adhikars also at the same time. The scriptures, they are telling us everywhere they are showing. Like other day, our Jayadev Prabhu was brilliantly expressing, Daksha is doing for Krishna, you know. Krishna appeared, he told him service. He's convinced that I am doing this service for Krishna. But his adhikar is lower. Narada's adhikar is higher. That way. So adhikar is what found by the spiritual master. And engagement happens according to that adhikar. That's the thing. So does that makes some sense, bro?
Basically, if it is then in Sharanagati way, as you defined, with proper everything.
I didn't define, scriptures are defining
yes,
and
yeah.
Acharya.
In that way, it is like otherwise there is no question of sadhana bhakti only. It is not pure devotional service. Then it is karma mishra bhakti in that sense.
Yeah.
But there is no question of raga or Vaidhi in that sense.
Yes, no question. One can come to that. Mishran can. If Mishran is, there are two types of Mishra Bhakti also. One is Akaitav, one is Sakaitav. Mishra Bhakti. So Sakaitav Mishra Bhakti means 10th offense. In spite of knowing, continue. But Akaitav Mishra Bhakti means now by practice of Mishra Bhakti got purified, he understood the highest, then he goes to the highest. So it's a progressive. The process of bhakti by nature is progressive. But when one wants to cheat, then there are other adhikars. Does that make sense? So it's not that there is no question. If you want, there is question. And there is attainment also. It all depends on what is your aspiration. And whether aspiration is changing, purifying, refining, etc. Like that.
Prabhuji, one small comment on that.
Yes, bro.
This sloka, which you said that the goal, the sadhya of this sloka is to become fearless.
Yes.
And generally we discuss that the sadhya of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is to come to bhav stage. How can we reconcile both here? Like Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwara Hari. Ichchata Abhayam. Abhayam is the sadhya here. Actually, sadhya of Vaidhi bhakti is bhav bhakti.
Yes.
How can we reconcile both?
See, definition gives all the aspects of the process. Vaidhi sadhan bhakti. The definition has all the aspects. But this is corroboration of that, wherein all aspects are not spoken. Bhai will go away, and after that, so many things will happen also. Na? Shravanam, Kirtanam, one does. then other results also will come. Now Bhakti, that verse is there in Bhagavatam. What is that? Krishne Parama Purushe Bhakti Utpadyate Pungsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. So side effects are Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Original result is attaining the love for Krishna. So there, because the context is speaking the entirety, everything is spoken. But this verse is not telling that. This verse is answering the question of Parikshit Maharaj that I am going to die, what I am supposed to do, please tell me, and what I should not do. This is answered in this verse. Okay, the context is different, basically. That's why you don't find that the goal in this. So here, Prabhupada being a summary study, so he takes this point of worshipping Hari, saying that we should not worship demigods and all. So that's what, because it's a summary study, so the side point in one sense is spoken by Srila Prabhupada elaborately, that one should not worship demigods and all these things are spoken in, right? So you read all these things already. And then Prabhupada adds Bhagavad Gita also, no? That Name Bhakta Pranashyati, that devotee, my devotee will never be vanquished, etc. To give more faith to worship Krishna. So Prabhupada is, because Prabhupada's audience, so Prabhupada is writing all these things actually. Elaborately is writing these things. And kind of concluding eventually that somehow or other we should apply our minds to Krishna very seriously. Thus also become fearless at death. So main thing is apply mind seriously and you can, other things will happen. And then again another thing he quotes from Padma Puran, Smartabhyam Smatatam Vishnu. So you have discussed this. Basically, so this verse, so you have read this, we should always try to mold the activities of our lives in such a way that we will constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. So here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very clearly says that as it is defining Vaidhi Bhakti, so Satatam doesn't mean constantly. Because it's not possible. How can you do constantly something which is forced upon you to do? Right? So person will not accept the instruction only. It's impractical for me to do. So Satatam here means every day. He says that. Okay, so Prabhupada also says that we should always mold our activities in our lives. But just before that he says Samadhi. So he tells the highest level also he tells. You see here? Right? Yeah, so he says that also. Then he says molding our life. Molding means what? That's why there is, never forget Krishna is there. Na? If one is constantly remembering Krishna, then second prohibition is not required for him. Right? So that's what he very clearly says. Satatam means every day, not every second. Since continuous remembrance would be impossible to do in sadhana bhakti. This would produce loss of faith in the rules of bhakti because they would be impossible to follow. Right? So impossible to follow. So we have to see what is told, in what context it is told. Yeah, just now I read from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary, but Prabhupada kind of taking it to molding our lives. So that is not constant. When you have to mold means there is no constancy. No, molding means you are trying to adjust with something else. No, okay, I have to do this also, I have to do this also. So let me adjust. So like that. So within this simple order, prohibition, all the regulatory principles are found to complete. So ahead also there is Varnashram in detail. I think you read that, na? All those things. Oh, so we have begun already. From here only we have to begin. Okay, from here. Okay, fine. So now what is ahead is that when there is obligation of Shastra and Guru, obligation doing is not so likely. That's why what has to be told, what you will get if you do it, and what you will get if you not do it. So those things are told in scriptures along with this kind of verses. So that verse is quoted. Is it making sense that carrot has to be shown and talwar has to be shown? If you do, you will get carrot. And if you don't do, you will get punishment. So that's what is told in next few verses, actually. That is what is from 11 canto, he quotes that verse, which yeah, I have put there. So there comes Varnashram, so we will come to that discussion. But Prabhupada brings that discussion before on. Why he brings before? Because rules and regulations, if you look at scriptures, the broad classification is based on Varnashram only. They don't write rules and regulation for everyone. Policies are not made in that sense. Because policy is not a civilized society. I am sorry, I am not saying, like today's purport, you read Prabhupada's purport in Bhagavatam class, civilized society means it is divided and the people are respected accordingly. So in a civilized society, rules and regulations are according to the person. Otherwise, the punishments are wrong, then what example he gave will happen. You know, punishment, if you have to drink ghee or you have to pay. So paying punishment will be problematic for a Vaishya. Kshatriya will say payment, na le lo, kuch problem. So punishment will not work similarly for everyone. So rules and regulations are according to the people who are categorized. So that's why Prabhupada is bringing in this Varnashram here. Suddenly he brings the regulative principle is applicable to all Varnas and Ashram. Right? So he says that the principle of remembering Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly and not forgetting Him at any moment is meant to be followed by everyone without fail. Right? And if this injunction is followed, so he again concludes with the Padma Puran verse only. All other rules and regulations should be treated as assistants or servants to this basic principle. Okay, so now he goes to the telling the phalam. Okay, as I told you, obligatory thing, there is something to be shown, either carrot or talwar. So that is what is told in this next two verses. So 10, 11 verses are telling talwar first, and 12th verse is telling the carrot. Okay, this is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So this is what I said, right? Yeah, read that obligatory instruction.
Obligatory instruction in scripture followed by resultant action of performance or non-performance.
Yeah. So it is told obligatory Sarpanava Satatam Vishnu. Now performance and non-performance se kya hoga wo bataya. So this is the verse from 11:5, 2 and 3. Mukha bahuru padebhya purushasya ashramai saha chatvaro jadnirya varna gunair vipradaya prathak. So what is told here is all varnas and ashramas are born from the Virat Purusha's body. So in a cultured society, if it is told from where you have come, naturally you become obligated to do something for that. That's why it is told. Ya esham purusa sakshad atma prabhavam ishwaram. That sakshat purush na bhajanti. If one doesn't worship, avajananti, disrespects, sthanat brashta patandada, he will fall from his position and he will go to lower regions. Adha, patanti adha means hell kind of thing. So here the non-performance creates negative result is told. Having told the knowledge that your positions are all social orders and all spiritual orders are coming from the body of the Lord. Right? So that's what Prabhupada quotes. So you can read this translation.
The injunction of the rules and regulations and resultant reactions are mentioned in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 2 and 3. Shamasha Muni, one of the 9 sages who came to instruct King Nimi, addressed the king and said, the 4 social orders, namely the Brahmanas, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Sudras, have come out of the different parts of the universal form of Supreme Lord as follows. The Brahmanas have come out of the head, Kshatriyas have come out of the arms, the Vaishyas have come out of the waist, and the Sudras have come out of the legs. Similarly, the Sannyasis have come out from the head, the Vanaprasthas from the arms, the Grahastha from the waist, and Brahmacharis from legs.
Yeah.
These different orders of society and grades of spiritual advancement are conceived in terms of qualification. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that the 4 social orders and the 4 spiritual orders are created by the Lord himself in terms of different individual qualities.
Yeah, continue. This also you can.
As the different parts of the body have different type of activities, so the social orders and the spiritual orders also have different types of activities in terms of qualification and position. The target of these activities, however, is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. He is the Supreme Engineer. So whether one is a Brahmana or Sudra, one has to satisfy Supreme Lord by one's activities.
Yeah. So Prabhupada telling the translation then is corroborating what he said by quoting Bhagavad Gita also, that Chatur Varnam Maya Sashtam. That it is Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Right? That's what Prabhupada is telling. And whosoever one is, he should engage to satisfy Lord, Supreme Lord. Whosoever it is. The target of, he should do activities according to his Varna and Ashrama. But the target of that activity is to please the Supreme Lord. So he quotes Bhagavatam also. Atam Pumbi Dvijashrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanushtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. That's what is the next quotation. So we will not read that. So injunction herein is that one has to act according to his position. And such activities, one must either satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead or else fall down from one's position. So, and then Prabhupada is telling about details of what Brahmana should do, what Kshatriya should do, and what Vaishya should do, and what Shudra should do. He's telling in detail. So, but just a point about this. So, many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, like today's purport, coincidentally, today only we are discussing. So, Prabhupada said about the society, what he said that the society which doesn't follow what Prabhupada said in the purport of today's. You see, what is the verse? 6.7.13. See what is there in that verse. In today's purport, what Prabhupada says. Very, very wonderful lines actually. He's writing that, not this kind of material advancement thing, but it is not a human society only. ऐसा कुछ तो लिखते हैं. Correct. Yes, so something like that, yeah. Varna Sankara, he says, okay. Yeah, don't go out of Varnashram, he says, yeah. But I am looking for something before. He says the consequence actually. Unless we know the consequence, you got? It is in confusion or something like that, Prabhupada says. What exactly he says? You see, I just 6 point, what is that? 6.7.13. Since the context is there, that's why we are seeing. Anyone got? This only, 13, correct? This only? Yeah, how there is, people do not know how they are respected, how society should be formed, and how one should advance in Krishna consciousness. All three things, if they are not there, it is not a human society. The culture of respect, culture of division society, forming of society with these 4 ashramas and varnas, and how to progress in that, not just creating the system, the progressing in Krishna consciousness. That is a human society. A human civilization, this must be ideal. One who does not follow, okay, that is that Varna Sankara, 5th kind. A society without Vedic laws and regulation, this is what I was referring to. What he is saying? I have highlighted that. Okay, sorry. A society without Vedic laws and regulations will not be very helpful to humanity. See, Prabhupada is writing such statements so many places. Elsewhere, I can tell you 5.1.14, you can check later in your leisure. There, Prabhupada says that individually and collectively, if one is not engaged like this, then person will not be successful and he will be confused and society will be confused. Prabhupada. Society will be confused. You can say 5:114. Many other places also Prabhupada writes. That verse is Brahmaji is speaking to Priyavrat that how everyone in this world is controlled, like bull is controlled by the noose, right? So similarly, everyone in this world is controlled by noose of Varnashrama. So I heard this because I have never dealt with bulls, but someone who dealt with bulls can know. See, bull is going here and there, and it gives a lot of pain to him actually, right? And it pains others also. So it is problem for him, problem for others. It is not helpful for humanity because the machine, it's not that pure devotion has that need. Pure devotion is completely beyond all this bodily conception. But it is helpful for individual and collectively to be engaged in the machine which he has got to engage in service of Krishna. So that's what, so Prabhupada here is saying it will not be so helpful. Elsewhere he says that the society will be confused. Person will think that, what so many years, what I am supposed to do? Ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya, but still there is different thinking. No, there are different things actually which happen. Like outside people, they have money, they have all the necessities, comforts, but they start doing some weird things. Have you had any of such friends or anyone? I have one of my friend from school only. I don't want to say his name, but very intelligent. But now also he is unmarried like me only, in one sense. Still searching. After 200 meetings with Matajis, still he is searching. He is not getting the ideal one. So, point is that he is having a lot of money, good salary. In Thane he stays. But he has taken a cycle and sometimes he goes somewhere, driving the cycle. Some weird things people start doing. But they are not satisfied at all what they are doing. Right? So I am telling about materialistic society also is not satisfied by simply accumulating the advertised things. What materialistic society? So because the machine has some way of working, so there is some inclination according. So when it comes to bhakti, this is all actually it is not necessary, but it is helpful, like a tool, right? Tool, you understand? Tool. So Varnashrama is a good tool for engaging in pure devotional service. It's not a goal. That's why Mahaprabhu rejected. So example is like you want to construct this, is only Haldar Maharaj gave a brilliant example that you want to construct this slab, no? So first what you create there? When slab is constructed, first pillars are constructed, then slab is made. So before doing the actual slab, what has to be done there? Bars has to be put and the wooden thing has to be put first, right? And after you put the cement and everything, and when that is dried up, then this is thrown. This is not that it always exists, right? So this is like something like that. The purpose is different. It will not remain all the time. But it's a tool for making. It's a temporary thing by which one can engage and transcend. So Prabhupada, that's what Prabhupada is saying here. So it will be helpful to humanity, right? So actually, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was giving class in GV, I think, in GBC college or something, where this kind of Varnashram thing was, kind of discussion is happening that time. So someone asked some question, how to know, this is the $1 million question, how to know my nature or whatever it is. So he said, if you have doubt, means you are not a Brahmana. Like that is. So doubt is the, so that's why scriptures are speaking. So when we read scriptures, we can understand what is what. We can understand whom to associate, what is my machine, what is others' machine, how machines work, then you can deal with machines properly. Your machine also and others' machines also. Right? So otherwise it's very difficult actually to deal, because expectations, the rewards, the punishments or whatever it is, it will be different, right? For different person. So unless one has tries to get that, so that's why this is important basically. So Prabhupada is going on elaborately saying, so one by one you can maybe, okay, it is required to be read. So you can read in your leisure, because Prabhupada is elaborating this point, that what Brahmana should do, what Kshatriya should do. He should not, keep aside violence. Violence is required to give protection. Vaishyas are meant and Shudras, etc. Yeah, you read this now in this way.
In this way, there is full cooperation and spiritual advancement among all the defined order of society. And when there is no such cooperation, the member of society will fall down.
Yeah.
That is the present.
Yeah, but that's all. So here, this is what Prabhupada wants actually, when he says that our society also should be, the 50% of my thing is. So this is what he aspires for. That there is a cooperation. What do you mean by cooperation? Cooperation means there is mutual respect for all the people. According to whosoever they are, mutual respect is there, mutual relationships are there, and people bend. Cooperation means that you cooperate with me and you bend. That is not cooperation. Cooperation means both try to bend. Cooperate means you also operate, I also operate together. Not that I am operator and you are operated. That is not cooperation. That is, what is that? It's not cooperation. What you call that is what he said, no? Operation. Yeah, operation happens. What you can say, na? What is that? Monarchy or whatever. Yeah, depends on why one is doing. But yeah, cooperation, when there is mutual respect, genuine respect, mutually, that mutual dependence is there. It is not theoretical. Mutually, you depend on everyone in the society where you are staying. So mutually, there is respect. That if actually kitchen devotees with great difficulty in that fire, they don't cook, I cannot do my service. If some devotees don't go out to do this service, I cannot do my service. This mutual, genuine respect and dependence feeling is there. Then there is cooperation and then spiritual advancement among the different orders of society. So it's a full cooperation. So that's why Prabhupada, when there is no cooperation, see, other side is told, when full cooperation, no cooperation means what? Members of society will fall down. Some will fall, some may not fall, whatever it is, depends on offense, level of the offense. Because what will happen? Offense. Nothing else is going to happen. Disrespect means offense. Whether it has happened or not, it is secondary. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is intended to set the whole human society in proper condition. So now Prabhupada is going to his great compassion and telling that, this is the goal of our movement. So intended to set the human society in proper conditions so that everyone will be happy and take profit from developing Krishna consciousness. So that's why where there is a society which is formed based on these all principles, they will become an ideal model where all other humanity will follow. They will see that this the knowledge given in Prabhupada books is working. They are seeing that in their interactions and respect and cooperation. So then everyone will be happy and take profit from developing Krishna consciousness. So this was the desire of Prabhupada, which he says, 50% and all. And for mass preaching, this is in one sense necessary. For mass preaching, So, read this Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he says in this context.
Just as failure to respect most respectable person is called disrespect. So failure to worship Lord, who is most worthy of worship, is contempt. Avajanati.
Yeah.
Narada characteristic.
Yeah, that is similar thing is there in Narada correcting Vyasdeva in first canto. So what is told, na bhajanti avajananti is being explained here. And from that verse, which is quoted na here. This verse, he is explaining that, Vishwanath Chakravarti. Like today he was telling, na omission, offense of omission. Means what? That which has to be given highest respect. If you don't give also, that means disrespect. Okay? Or that which is to be worshipped, more worthy of worship, if he is not worshipped, that itself is contempt. It is not that you have to separately go and disrespect him. Not respecting itself is disrespect. So that is what is the cultured society which Prabhupada was saying there in the purport yesterday. That yatha, I think who was saying, our Anand Goprama was saying the other day, respecting according to as it behooves. So the respecting principle is spoken by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, saying that there are 8 different factors by which we respect. I don't remember all of them, but you can add. One is what? Age. Other is experience. Other is post and hierarchical way. Knowledge. Spiritual advancement. There are like that, there are many. Varna ashrama. Varna and ashrama. That also is there in the cultured society. So like this. Okay. So but essence of full respect is given by Kapil Muni in his 29th chapter of 3rd canto, which is the most essential chapter. When Radheshampur taught in one of the BVP camps that time, he was saying when you read this chapter, you will be enlightened and frightened simultaneously. Because it is talking about dangers of disrespect. Very profoundly. And then Kapil Dev speaks about how a devotee respects according to how it behooves. So what is the principle of respect? All these things are there which are to be followed. But the core principle of respect is the person who is more closer to Krishna, more realized Krishna, he deserves more respect than someone who is lesser than that. The realization of Krishna or closeness to Krishna is the respecting factor for a devotee. That's how prema, maitri, kripa, upeksha. So that discrimination gradually one starts doing when one progresses. That's what comes in the next sections of this book. So, but essential point is the respect has to be based on the Krishna consciousness. But Krishna consciousness of other person will be understood to the degree you are Krishna conscious. So that's what the question was asked recently, that how is it that Daksha is getting so much Mahajan association and nothing is happening? Right? Because Prabhupada says in one purport, you can read that 3:1:17, I don't know. It takes spiritual advancement to take benefit of association of pure devotees. Prabhupada says that in one of the verses. So when great souls come, association is okay, but how many of us are able to benefit from their association? So that benefit and the desire to get benefit depends on how much we are Krishna conscious. To that degree, we can evaluate and take benefit of their consciousness. And we don't see much external. Because Krishna consciousness is the core thing, So we see Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangri Prabhu and all these people. My Lord, what kind of thing they have done? Their entire life, one service they have done, that's all. Not much, preaching, not many, no devotees or whatever it is. But their sincere practice and their Krishna consciousness makes their God brothers in front of 5,000 people, touch the feet and come on the Vyasasana to speak. This is respect. Respect for not post, position, varna, ashram, but advancement or closeness to Krishna. So that is the core factor of Krishna consciousness, respect. That is what is essential, which is given. So that's why Narada is criticizing Ved Vyas a lot. See, you have dharma, artha, dharma, dayaschartha, munayanu varnitaha, na tatha vasudevasya mahimahanu varnitaha. You have glorified dharma, artha, kama, moksha more than devotional service. And that is why you are dissatisfied. Because you have not that is most worthy of respect, have to be given that much respect. That's what you have not done in all your literature, Prabhu. Your compassion is glorious. Your knowledge is glorious. But you have not given the highest respect to Krishna, and more than Krishna, what Krishna respects, what Krishna is attracted to. That is pure devotional service. That's what you have not done. So you are dissatisfied, and all fellows who will read your Vedanta will remain dissatisfied till they come to Srimad Bhagavatam. So same principle here, there he writes, that's why I have said. That which is worthy of respect has to be respected. So that's what Vedvyas didn't do. So he chastised him. Actually, you have done a great. So that's what now bhajanti avajananti is being explained here. So Prabhupada continues to explain about same thing. He quotes some verse from Uddhava, Krishna telling Uddhava, but same point. No? The result of such satisfaction, the whole society gets all the necessities amply and without difficulty. So this is a society of all the Varna ashramas trying to satisfy the Lord. Going further, now he quotes another verse, which is now Talwar was shown in the previous verse. Now the Gajar will be shown here. So two Gajars are shown, immediate Gajar and ultimate Gajar. Ultimate Gajar is shown in this verse. Tatra phalamcha tatraiva evam kriyayoga pathai puman vaidika tantrikai harchayan ubayatah siddhim matto vindati abhipsitam. Please read translation directly. This I am highlighting. Read this part on. Read the translation this. My dear Uddhava.
My dear Uddhava, all persons are engaged in activity, whether those indicated in the revealed scripture or ordinary worldly activity. If by the result of either such activity they worship me in Krishna consciousness, then automatically they become very happy within this world, as well as in the next. Of this there is no doubt.
Yeah. So this is one Gajar that you will become happy. Or other Gajar, which is not quoted here, but Rup Goswami quotes, is that one gets like, there are so many Mahatmas written. If you do Ekadashi, you will get this. You are right. In Bhagavatam also there are so many phals given. That is for that kind of people. That's like a carrot by which they will do some activity of bhakti. Because it's obligated. There is need of carrot to do something which is obligated. We can conclude from this statement that by Krishna, that activities in Krishna consciousness will give you all perfection in all desires. So there all desires will be fulfilled. Right? So this is like akama, sarva, kamo, etc. So this is like a, yeah. Read this. Very nice.
Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that there is no need of even designating oneself Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Let everyone be engaged in whatever occupation he now has. Simply let him worship Lord Krishna by the result of his activities in Krishna consciousness. That will adjust the whole situation and everyone will be happy and peaceful within the world.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying that even designation is not required. So this is going ahead of that Naham Varni Nacha Grihapati, like that. Should not be designated also, identified also, but it should be engaged like that. Because point is not about designation, upadhi. Point is engagement. In what you are engaged in, that you do it, give fruit to Krishna, at least to begin with. That is karma yoga, etc. Right? Nishkama karma yoga. Result of activities you give for Krishna. Every whole society will progress. So this is entire Bhagavad Gita, actually. Yeah. That offer results, he is saying here, right? So that's why it is coming in that obligatory category. This is the last thing. Now the ultimate carrot, or it is not carrot, it is a real result of proper sadhan bhakti, is given in the last verse of this section. Pancharatrecha surarshe vihita shastre harim uddishya kriya saiva bhakti itir prokta taya bhakti parabhavenit. So what is given here is surarshe, he Narad Muni, shastre vihite, whatever is given in shastra, harim uddishya ya kriya. If you do it with the goal of Lord Hari, sa eva bhakti riti prokta. That only is called as bhakti. Whatever is given in Shastra, do it for Hari. That is bhakti, and that will bring about para bhakti. That is prema bhakti. That is what is, this is the ultimate carrot. Or that's what Jiva Goswami says. Samastena darshayan parama phalam aha. The param phal is given. That is prema para bhakti, which will happen eventually for a sincere person who doesn't want to cheat. For that person, he will come to the rays of, as Prabhupada is translating, then gradually he rises to a platform of serving in pure love of God. So that's how this kind of chapter ends here. So we can begin with the next chapter, or if there are some comments or questions or anything, we can have them, or we can begin with the further chapter of this section. Yes, Prabhu.
I have two
Online devotees, if they have something also.
I have two questions. First question is like that you explained that as we advance in Krishna consciousness, and then we respect as per the stature of the person, like we differentiate the person. But
Yes.
we see that, that Uttamadhikari, he doesn't differentiate. Like for him, everyone is equal. So after a certain level, like that differentiation doesn't matter for a pure devotee. Like he.
So, if I understood your question rightly, I will repeat that you are saying that when one goes to the level of Uttam Adhikari, then he doesn't differentiate anyone. So, how he is doing as it behooves the respect? So, respect has to be according to the person and his Krishna consciousness. Then how is it that he is equally seeing? Is that your question?
Like in Bhagavad Gita also, we say that
Dog and that one?
Yeah, we should see everyone equally.
Yes.
So if we are differentiating in terms of giving respect, it's like, sometimes we are creating boundaries. We are creating a, differentiation among different people in giving respect to them.
I am not fully getting your question, but some statements, if it helps, it's about vision. His vision is spiritual. The Uttamadhikari's vision, as what theoretically I have read, his vision is spiritual. For him, dog and anyone is same one. No, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane, Gavi Hastini, Shuni Cheva Sopaki, Pandita Samadarshina. But his interaction is not equal. But his vision is equal. So his interaction is different actually. That is one point. And another point is that he doesn't have to offer respect in a way grossly is offered for a great soul like Shiva. When Daksha is entering, Daksha is expecting that he should offer me obeisances by standing up. Not obeisances, respect. By standing up. But Shiva doesn't have to. Because he is absorbed in Krishna. And he is already respecting him like that in one sense. So he doesn't have to externally do the activities of respecting. So, but still, I could not understand your question. Means what is that you are saying? Means कुछ तो ये हो जाएगा क्या बोले आप?
मतलब प्रभु जी like हम being a devotee, being a Vaishnava, like we have a special affection for devotees कि हाँ ये devotees हैं, but at the same time we cannot, you know, जो materialist लोग हैं, we cannot have a bad eye on them कि हाँ वो पतित हैं, मतलब एक so my question is that, you know, कि हम differentiate अगर कर रहे हैं लोगों को कि ये उनको respect नहीं देना, उनको ये क्योंकि उनके पास post है, क्योंकि उनके पास knowledge है, इसलिए उनको respect देना है, तो ये थोड़ा मेरे को digest नहीं हो रहा. Just because they have some stature,
So you are saying that
they are in particular ashrama, so that's why we are respecting. So
outside people you are talking about
I'm
devotees,
talking about general, Prabhuji.
both among devotees as well as
General.
seeing outside people
Yeah.
with posts and everything. So actually, that's what I am trying to say is that 3.29 is telling that as devotee progresses, his depth of respect increases. It doesn't matter whether devotee or non-devotee or animal also. That's what Anand Gopru also said in his answer, that more you progress in bhakti, more your depth of respect will increase. So that is the bottom line. Now, in 3.29, what is told, as you are saying, na, we cannot have negative mentality towards them because it is disrespect. And then Krishna will not be pleased. That's what 3. You can see the verse 3.29.21 to 24. There, what Lord is telling, Kapila is telling Devahuti that, my dear Devahuti, the person who worships me, but he disrespect other living entity, his worship is imitation worship. His worship is pretense worship. Next verse he says, the person who worships me but disregards any living entity, that worship is like putting ghee in ashes. Next verse says, the person who who hates other living entities, that person will never be peaceful. And the last, this is biggest bomb, that any devotee who criticizes other living entities, he will never satisfy me. So these 4 verses are spoken by Kapil Dev. Why? To respect, to deepen our respect. To deepen our respect to even, there should not be any feeling of hatred also, negativity also, towards anyone, what to speak of devotees. Towards anyone. So that's what is ideally strive to be practiced. I don't know whether it has helped because still I am not fully clear about the question on.
One more question I have, Prabhuji. Like you have explained that, you know, Vaidya Sadhana Bhakti is more about following scripture injunction.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the question arises, like, you know, that when we start bhakti, that we all have our an individual nature. So, like, आपने explain this question को, अमित को question को explain किया that, you know,
I want to ask on similar lines something.
Yeah.
Further.
Okay. Yeah. So where does the factor of individuality lies in Vaidya Sadhana Bhakti? Does it again come under the, you know, instruction from spiritual master? Like how does it matter? Like our individuality in Vaidya Sadhana Bhakti? Because it's scriptural. The scripture doesn't define every individual's position. It is there with the local people.
Yes. So that's what, as I answered him only, that first is developing pure faith and the strength of pure faith by doing whatever is told with proper Guru Sadhu Shastra understand. Because individual natures are there and will remain also. It doesn't go. Krishna says in 11th canto, Swabhava Vijayam Shauryam. The real Shurata is to conquer your nature. So it's quite deep actually. It's quite deep actually to give up the nature and just, so quite deep. So point is that it has to begin with, now I am trying to answer in the context of brahmacharis because we are all that. So, but In essence, it all boils down to obedience to spiritual master. Obedience to a person who is Sharanagat, who is pure devotee. Okay. So now the question comes is that, okay, I am not directly under him. But then I am under someone who is been appointed by him at least. Right? So then actually we become obedient to spiritual master by being obedient to them. Not that we are obedient to them, that is perfection of my life. That's why faith means where your thoughts are going, for whom it is going for. So it has to be, that's how the discussion was happening. The chastity has to be for Guru and Krishna. That consciously we are thinking that this will please Guru, let me do this. So with this faith, if he does, then it will lead to purification. Whosoever he is working with, okay, the representatives. That's why the similar question was asked by one devotee who asked many questions to Haladhar Swami Maharaj. No, he had little white hairs. He asked many questions actually, which were very relevant for everyone, but he was, mostly Telugu, and from yoga only he stayed in yoga. From Hyderabad, I think. Yeah, so he asked so many questions. And intellectual and, जानते हैं कैसा करना है ऐसा ना, he used to very honestly express himself, at least what I felt. But there Maharaj was telling that only, that you begin at least with this faith that Guru has appointed this. If I do it, Guru will be pleased. This place is assigned to me by Guru. Because anywhere you are practicing, Krishna is involved. Which place, under whom, this is all, Krishna is also involved. We have to see. We have to see that connection. But Krishna is involved, Guru is involved. Although they are remotely involved or directly involved, we don't know how much they are involved. But they are anyway involved. That's faith. So that's why I'm saying more Guru Sadhu Shastra directed faith is there in our practice. More we'll try to be obedient and we will have proper samvad with devotees. Like individuality will be expressed, as I told him also, that it can be expressed to devotees. That this is what I can, and eventually see, if someone likes, he will anyway do it, right? That is another thing. That if someone likes something in Krishna consciousness, whether you tell or not, he will do it. That is the symptom of true liking. That he is getting something from there, some reciprocation, some nourishment, some inspiration, some encouragement he is getting. So that also, if one is seeing, it can be expressed. That's what is actually the, this dadati pratikunati guyam akhyati prichati bhungte bhojayati. That the samvad can happen. The more samvad can happen, more one is engaged in the direction of that individuality. And he may or may not, depends on the need, and so many factors are there for that.
But when someone expresses, doesn't it come under the karma mishra bhakti? I should express that,
Yeah, that's
then how it become pure devotional service.
So this is what I'm saying. There is difference in expressing and demanding. See, one is expressing, one is requesting, one is demanding, one is crying. So there are shades of it. Why I am doing what I am doing? So it's really pure devotional service is, we have to see why I am doing. We are not saying here that we try to manipulate by speaking something. No, very honest. Being honest, we can express. Not that, okay, I will express now so that whatever you understand, I am saying that it should not be calculative or something. So that is what I feel, because Mishran is when what you follow, what you are doing. When you remember, okay, this I don't like, but I have been told, and this will please Guru, and I have heard in lecture that this is what pleases. Like one lecture I have heard of my spiritual master. He says that When you do what you don't want to do, then you are purified. Like that. And when you do what you want to do, there is not much purification. And Krishna will test later by taking away that. And Krishna will see whether this fellow wants me or he wants that thing only. Because it's very subtle, na Prabhuji. Our liking is on what platform. So, भक्ति ये अंदर की बात है. ये मेंटल क्या लेवल पे चल रहा है मेरा, जब निकाला जाता है तब पता चलता है. कोई तो बोला ना रिसेंटली ये, someone was saying in his class, I think Revati Pradipa was saying, you like something and no, it is given to you, and if it is taken away and told something, then what is your response? That is the test. So test will be that. मिश्र चल रहा है, क्या चल रहा है, क्या फीलिंग है, क्यों कर रहा हूं, रिक्वेस्ट एक्सप्रेस क्यों कर रहा हूं. Because expressing is also important, because you are learning in scriptures that this is important, right? In the sense, the nature, the machine, how it works is important. Otherwise, so it's a combined thing. That's why actually this Guru Sadhu Shastri is very important. They are 100% guaranteed compasses or GPS which will take us back to Golokunda. Not anything else. Because the impurity gets added. Everyone, anything else, there is impurity according to the person who is doing it. That's why more we are conscious of these three things. That's why these two things are important. As I said, person Bhagavad, book Bhagavad. Person Bhagavad is a pure devotee. Book Bhagavad is telling the science. Book Bhagavad, when I mean, it is all the scriptures. The scriptures which are establishing what is pure devotion, what is not pure devotion. And that is very important discussion. And this Kapil Dev only says in his instructions in 3.29. Because bhakti has to be done, there he says, I am just repeating from 3.29. Because bhakti has to be practiced with antakaran, so one has to find out the symptoms of pure antakaran and impure antakaran. So we are not discussing on the level of mind, intelligence and senses at all. Bhakti is done by antakaran. And bhakti can purify antakaran or chitta, cheto darpana marjan. It is not just purifying intelligence, purifying mind, and this is all material only. Last thing is that. So that's why one has to hear where which Lord says that. One has to hear what is impure antakaran, one has to hear what is pure antakaran. Then only it will be clear. And where it is nicely given. Where it is nicely given. Yeah. Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita also. This is all given actually. Very graphically given. So that's why it is important. So, as I said, ये अंदर की बात है. तो अंदर की बात किस समूह में चर्चा होनी चाहिए, उसको बोलते हैं संवाद. So that way. Okay. Does that make some sense? I don't know if something is there. Yes, I think it's for 24. Do you have something? Based on what we discussed, anyone has anything on that only, or your is something?
One thing is, what is antakaran? First of all,
What is antakaran? Yeah, antakaran is the element which functions in four ways when we call chitta, mind, intelligence and ego. So it is actually one only. That is antakaran.
subtle body.
Subtle body. But when we say subtle body, we say only four, only three we say generally. But chitta, if you take that whole thing, four things, chitta, man, buddhi and ahankar, then this is all called antakaran. So this is in Kapila teachings in 3.26.
Like we discussed that, Prabhuji, that if we do some activity,
Huh.
Bhakti, sadhana bhakti under obedience of Guru, Shastra, that is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti.
Yes.
And
Consciously when we try to do that.
yeah. And if you do something just for pleasure of Krishna, out of desire to please Krishna, that is Raganuga bhakti. Is
If
that
we do, means what? It's instructed, it's just spontaneously doing, or
under instructions? Yeah. What? Correct.
under instruction, it is in that category only.
My question is, Prabhuji, that if we do some activity for the pleasure of Guru, like not just obedience, but for pleasing him, so that will come under Vaidhi bhakti or Raganuga bhakti?
Yeah, means just to express my thoughts about what you said is that we try to do everything for that purpose only. But in that we specifically do something for spiritual master, let us say. So if that is not coming in while what is told you to do, then it is fine. Does that make some sense? Means all of us are trying to do actually or strive to do everything for spiritual master's pleasure or Krishna's pleasure. But in that, having said that, I want to do something specifically for Guru, which is apart from maybe whatever is told also. Let us say. So that wonderful, we can try to do that, provided it is not interfering with whatever is told to us. Something like that. I don't know. That's what you are asking.
If that is interfering, then that is not bhakti only. And that is not sadhana.
Not like bhakti, but I am saying it is means because both have to be reconciled properly. That's why you have samvad that time. That's what I am saying. It is not black and white.
My question is about Vaidhi bhakti or Raganuga bhakti. Will
Okay,
that come into this or that? If you are doing for the pleasure of Guru.
Yeah. If it is not interfering and you are doing like Prabhupada said, automatically you want to do like, so it is spontaneity is coming. It is not Raganuga sadhana bhakti because Vrindavan, it is about Vrindavan bhakti's attraction and all. But spontaneity is increasing. Spontaneity is coming. Yes. Surely spontaneity is coming because it is apart from obligation you are doing something.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Apart from obligation, you are trying to do something on your own, you are planning for it. So it is coming in that spontaneous zone.
Or even obligatory things also doing with the mode of pleasing the
spontaneity. But this also, as long as it is not interfering with this. That is not written anywhere. This is theoretically something I am trying to say. Because it's something which is not directly written. Institution is not there in scripture. Scripture never talks directly what is to be done in this. Because it's a necessary evil actually. Like that Bhakti Siddhanta said. Because it's had utility by which it can spread. But institution should facilitate this Guru and Shishya relationship actually. Institution is not, that's what I said, it's not for making external. Institution is to apply what Rupa Goswami is saying and facilitate that practice of pure devotional service. That's what basically Rupa Goswami wants. So maybe I think we are already delayed. 4:30, right? 4:30 we have to end. So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.